Hello everyone, this is Cody with Central Texas Studios, and this is episode 2 of our online tutorials that we're putting out there. And today we're going to be looking at the spot healing brush in Photoshop. So I've already taken this image, and it was of my boy the other day, and we're out in a little train park, and we didn't really have time to clean up his face a little bit. We should have, but he's running around the park and he's 2, and if you have a 2-year-old, you know what I'm talking about. They just kind of run away from you. So what we've done is actually created a new blank layer. So let's go ahead and start over from the original image. So this is the background image. It's layer 0 here. And what I like to do is typically work on a new blank layer. So we don't actually have to copy the entire background image. We can just make this new layer. And so the first thing we're going to do is I like to use short keys, so we're going to hit J, and you want to make sure up here that you have the right tool selected. So if you go to your toolbar, you can actually see that the little dot is next to spot healing brush, which means that is the one that we want. We're going to focus on that one today, and hopefully we can make it through the entire edit without having to use a different tool. So let's go ahead and hit the Z key. We'll zoom in, and right now we're at about 81%, which is pretty good distance. You don't want to be zoomed in to, this is 250%, a little too close to be doing these types of edits, right? Because the final image, if I hit Control 0, is going to look, still it's going to look like that. So the things that we kind of want to mark up, if I go ahead and, let me just grab a paintbrush here, if I get the brush tool, the things that we're going to kind of mark up here are just going to be the areas like here, a little bit right here, a little bit of that right there. We got a lot of spots, kind of under the nose, a couple little bitty ones up here, in here. I feel like John Madden while we're playing football. Boom, and we're going to be here, 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 and here. But that's not a here nor there. So let's get rid of that layer, and we'll go ahead and hit Create New Layer again, and we'll hit J. Now J key is selected. It is my brush tool. We're at about 90% right now. So let's go ahead and run through the edit. So remember that your left and right bracket keys, just above quotations there, are going to be your best friend here, so we can increase and decrease the brush. And let's go ahead and just start kind of tapping away at little areas. And what you'll notice is they are blending away very well. So you can't really see a whole lot of blurring, and that's, technically that's what this brush is doing, is taking a sample of pixels around what we're trying to get rid of, and it's trying to match the entire spot that we're blending in with those pixels. So sometimes it has to aggregate the color space, sometimes it actually has to kind of blur what it's getting rid of, right, because there's not enough information for it to copy. So let's go ahead and zap that right there. And I'm using a Wacom tablet, which is really helpful for doing kind of speedy edits. If you want to go ahead and check them out, they're at www.wacom.com, and you can check out their tablets. So, I've used a mouse before doing this, and you just kind of sacrifice, accuracy and a little bit of speed. So you can see kind of the rosy areas that we're getting rid of there. We've got a few just tiny spots up here. And the one thing that I should have pointed out at the beginning is you want to make sure you're using content aware. So it looks at the content around the spot and make sure that it samples that. And then also you want to sample all layers. And the reason we're doing that is because we're using this new blank layer. If we were sampling just on the background layer, we could have that unchecked and it wouldn't matter. And the only reason that is very important is because you might have 6 layers underneath that you've done some work on, and you don't want those to be affected. Well, the good news and the bad news is, the good news is you could say don't sample all layers if you had all that work done, and the bad news is if you had all those layers, they would still show through and you would still have to sample all layers. So most people do the blemish cleanup first, because it really is the most important thing to get out of the way first, because you want to sample the layer that you want to clean up and then start doing your color correcting and things like that afterwards. So just to keep in mind for later edits. So as I'm scanning through the image right now, there's not really much to clean up. You can actually you can use this for more than just that. So if I zoom in over here, you can actually clean up, there's a little spot on the wood there. If you wanted to clean that up, you can clean up the frame too. So if we go down here, we can just kind of, zap little parts on the frame, and it's just going to do the same thing. It's going to blend and take the average and do that. So what can you not do? Well, what's not recommended, I guess, is trying to take too big of a sample area. So if I see a really big spot, and Photoshop has gotten really good in the last few iterations, but if I try to take that spot right there and it does a recount, you can see what it kind of does. It starts to warp and kind of augment, and so we kind of got a nasty, it looks like a bad cut and paste, right? So you want to take that out. Just hit Control-Alt-Z and get rid of that, and Control-Alt-Z will take you back in history of your last few brush strokes. So we can actually sample a pretty good size there. If you want to clean that up, you can kind of clean that up. So it's kind of, these paint chips on the wood, you can get rid of that. But actually, the face is where we had to spend most of the time today, and it's actually looking really good. So that's about it for the spot healing brush. It's definitely helpful for kids. It's helpful for anybody, teenagers, if you got some acne going on and things like that. It might take you a while to clean up, but you can actually see that we've gone from kind of a messy, yucky face here to a nice, clean, kind of spotless face that we're ready for print. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.